All right. A very good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Chin Yingxin from Department of Public Relations, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, UTAR. The UTAR CEO Talk Series is jointly organized by Center for Corporate and Community Development, Innovate Center, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, UTAR, and LSPR, Communication and Business Institute, Indonesia. I'll be moderating today's webinar titled The Need of Public Relations for a CEO by Dr. Honorary Counsel Prita Kamalgani, MBA, MCIPR, APR. And before the webinar begins, I would like to share the biography of our speaker. Dr. Prita is the founder and Chief Executive Officer of LSPR Communication and Business Institute in Indonesia. In 2021, Dr. Prita received the honorary doctorate degree, Doctor of Arts, in recognition of her contribution to public relations and communication education across ASEAN by Coventry University, UK. She also received many prestigious awards, including People of the Year 2020 in the Golden Flag Awards in Beijing, China, Special Diversity category in British Chamber for the Discretionary Awards in Jakarta, ASEAN People's Award and Ernst & Young Entrepreneurial Winning Women class, and many more. She is a current member of the Executive Board Regional Delegate at Large, Asia, in Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management. She also became the first ever female chairperson of Public Relations Society of Indonesia. Dr. Prita was instrumental and a driving force in establishing ASEAN Public Relations Network that connects PR leaders, PR practitioners, PR educators, and PR institutions in the region. Apart from that, she's also an activist in promoting awareness about autism and established London School Beyond Academy to provide a learning center for people with autism. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions regarding the webinar later, please type them into the chat box in your Zoom control panel. I will bring them up during the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. To all UTAR students and staff, kindly sign in your attendance in the link posted in the chat box. Now, without further delay, let us turn the time over to Dr. Prita.
Prita Kamalgani, MBA, MCIPR, APR, President of ASEAN Public Relations Network and Chair of Asia Pacific Regional Council for Global Alliance. Prita is known as a progressive entrepreneur. She owns and operates the renowned Public Relations and Communications School, LSPR Communication and Business Institute. LSPR is now recognized as the nation's best communication school and has active cooperation and knowledge sharing with an international network of campuses. Prita won an ASEAN People's Award at the 2015 ASEAN Summit. From 2011 to 2014, Prita was the first ever female chairperson of Perhumas, the Public Relations Society of Indonesia. And for her contribution to the world of public relations, Prita was chosen as Public Relations Public Figure of the Year by the Indonesia Press Company Federation, or SPS. Prita was also one of Ernst & Young's Entrepreneurial Winning Women class of 2015, and is the Delegate at Large for Asia on the Executive Board of the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So greeting from Jakarta, and thank you so much, UTAR, for having me this morning. I'm very grateful and honored to be part of the CEO Talk series by UTAR. And I thanks also for the topic assigned to me, which is actually a very nice topic. Your CEO and your brand is your reputations. And of course, the reputations of the CEO is the reputations of the company. And the CEO should have a charisma and charms that can feel by the teams. How the team can feel the charms and the charisma of the CEO is by having the CEO and the team together, facing the problem and also finding the solutions together. and also making a planning together, execute the project, the program, the planning together. That is the charms and the charisma that the team can feel, and the team have faith in the CEO. That is very important. It's not important what other people says if the team will not feel the same feeling like others. You know, some people always think it's better other people, it's better the public, it's better, you know, the word known about how great the CEO, but actually the CEO is not known by heart to the team. So it's very important to build the reputations to the team first, then to the public. The CEO also very important also to share their vision, mission, and the concept of creating the organizations or the company or the product to the team. So the team also have the same vision. So that's why the CEO should always work together and share their visions to the team. This is like what Richard Branson's sharing his idea, his passions on airspace, you know, and the people who believe in him, the people who attractive or influenced by his mission and vision, also have the same vision and the same passions on the aerospace. And also this lady is a good friend of mine, or the friend of a very good friend of mine, Datu Hazima Zainuddin. She's the founder and the CEO of Zairak Oil in Malaysia. She was before a sprinter, you know, she loved to do rally. That's why she learns how to the gasolines work, the oil, how it works in the car. And she has so much passion in that. Until now, she became one of the successful women in Malaysia. And of course, her team who work with her also have the same interest in the oil and in the car, and then a lot of things that also become her passions. And then this is also a good friend of mine, a very successful conglomerate in Indonesia, Mr. Hairul Tanjung. He loved theater. He create a TV program, Trans TV. Now it's become a giant company. He has Trans Hotel, Trans Park, so many things under, you know, his company. But all the people who work for him have the same vision. They love theater. They love creating something. They love entertainment. And the lady here from Singapore, I think everybody knows Christina Ong, and she's behind all the inspirations of the Crazy Rich Asia movie. And, you know, we see she loves fashions. She owned Club 21 Singapore, and she bought Club 21, you know, in the world. So she loved fashion. She loved to dress well. So the team who also together with her also have the same interest in fashion. So otherwise the company will not moving. So that's why that's very important, the CEO to have the charisma, to have the charm, to have a way of persuasion, to have a way of influence the team to be together with the CEO in making the dreams come true. And of course, the reputations of CEO share is the biggest contributions in organizations. This man, Pierre Bourdieu, he's a French sociologist. He divided reputation into 7 stages. So starting from the company history, if the company already like, I mean, LSPR 30 years old. So, I mean, if we compare this to a person, 30 years old woman or 30 years old man, mostly already have family, already have children. So it's meaning if a company already have, you know, another unit, another set of business, that's a company history. Then he also defined financial history. Financial history is very important. No need to be ashamed or embarrassed if the company having financial turbulence, because when the turbulence come, especially in the financial to a company, then the company will also learn. You know, when the turbulence come, you know, of course we are afraid, we are nervous, we are sad, a lot of things, you know, the feeling of panic. But that kind of feeling sometimes create us an excitement and some even make us even stronger and even make us closer to each other. The bond in the company mostly become happening after the financial turbulence. Yeah. So a good company, major company, big company, of course they experience the financial turbulence. But the most important in the reputation is how the company overcome this financial turbulence. That is also one thing, you know, which means that the team, the CEO, capable and have competent to write on again to make the company under control. Then he also defined another stages is the company achievement award, the products being loved, the product being known, the awareness of the services. That is also another achievement or another reputations that can build a company to have a good reputations. And then again, the logo and the building, people might, you know, we still live in this world. We still live on earth. I believe all in new technology, we can have all these AR or you know, anything to create some things to make it wow through technology. But still, we still live on earth. We still see each other. We still need to have something to prove. So the building, the uniform, the logo is also another additional adding reputations of an organization. And of course, the management, the staff is also a part of these reputation stages. Sometimes, you know, when we go to a restaurant and then we saw many trainees in the restaurant, they're wearing white clothes and black skirt or black pants, we know that is a trainee. And sometimes we saw the waiters also, the shoes is already almost, you know, it's not proper. Then we can tell, you know, how the owner, how the CEO, how the company treat the staff. You know, this number one, they see the staff first. Is the staff looking good, presentable? That is the company also presentable. You cannot say that your product is number one known in over the world and your company prosper, but your staff need to be proper. Yeah. So the staff, the management is also the image of the company reputations. Then the board of commissioner, the board of directors, or the council members of the organization. That is also a reputations. Do they make they promise? Do they dress well? They walk the talk? It's a lot of things, you know, we can see. And how's their family matters? It's also become the reputations of the organization. Then the last is the CEO. What matter happened to the CEO is a matter happened to a company. So that's why we divided, Pierre Bourdieu divided into these 7 stages. Why in public relations, we need to study this? Why in public relations, we need to help the CEO to understand about these 7 stages. So when there's a crisis come to our organization, we can identify, we can minimize the crisis in which stage in these 7 stages the crisis hits. If it's the crisis hit, let's say at the building, there's something happened, there's a flood or the electricity or something. So we just concentrate in the building. So if something happened to the CEO, the malfeasance or scandals or anything, we just can also minimize or concentrate into that area. So this is something that actually the need to have these reputation stages. And how important is the CEO to the company? And how important the CEO to the public. Many people think when the company is already become very successful, already become big, especially the public company, the CEO must be present, must be a part of the teamwork, you know, because the CEO owns 45% of the company reputation. If we believe the 7 stages, all the reputations, all total 100%, so meaning another 6 stages, it's around 55%. So you can see how big is the contributions of the company reputation. So this research has been done by Fleishman here at Public Relations in Hong Kong. And then you see that a brand like Coca-Cola, I think the Coca-Cola asset and the Coca-Cola reputations is much more bigger, the Coca-Cola reputations compared to Coca-Cola asset. So the reputations owned by Coca-Cola is 44% is contributing of the CEO. So very important to have CEO, to have a good reputations and to be presentable. And again, the social CEO who like to be involved in a social matter, anything is about environments. I mean, like Richard Branson's, I mean, he likes the environment. He likes to help people, you know, who short of water or something like that, or against animal killing or something. People know him on something, but this cannot be fake. It's something that the CEO like to do and genuinely come from him. So if the CEO known by that, then of course the customer will buy the product, not because the product is very good, not only because of course the product needs to be very good, but not only because of the product is very good, the packaging looks so nice, the distribution is very good, but most importantly, the people like to buy the product from the company they like. How can they like the company? They should like the CEO, right? Then, you know, CEO who like involved in the social matter, then will own 82% consumer to like them. And again, the customer like to, you know, to trust them and to buy from them. And the professional like to work for this CEO because it's good in the CV. If you know, during my time, on that time when we want to graduate, like I graduated from public relations when I first arrived in Jakarta. In my mind, I want to work in international company. So I work for the Hilton, Hilton Hotel. And my friend who actually have a business degree wants to work for IBM, but now all the graduates, when they come home, they want to work for EY, for KPMG, for Anderson or something like that. So why? Because the CEO, because of the company. Yeah. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the CEO should be present. Not only presence with the team, but also present to the public, and especially to the target audience. And in Indonesia and in Malaysia, we know the word tak kenal maka tak sayang. How can you love if you don't know? It's true, right? And it's realistically, how can you love if you don't know that person? So you need to be able to get to know other people. Your people, and let them know you also. Yeah. So that's why during the crisis time, the CEO should be present. And number one, of course, if you don't have a solution, it's very rare, and sometimes also it's not good when something happened and suddenly the CEO appear and make statement. I think it's going to be false. So, but at least you are appear to show it to the public, and also to make your team calm. Okay, we are all together in this. That is most important. Then we will handle this seriously. Then we work on this together. We face this together. We find the solution together. That is the most important thing for a CEO. Okay, and then CEO also should maintain the reputations. Reputation, just like you rent a room. When you don't pay the rent, of course, you have to leave the room. The same thing like CEO. If CEO don't maintain the reputations, just only once appear in the public, only once coming for the, for the meetings with the team. And of course, the team will not get to know the CEO. And again, maybe the new team's coming, and, and people might forgetting about the CEO. So should be maintained and should always presentable, and is always known to the people, and have persuasion skill. When people see the CEO, people will like the CEO. That is most important. So you're not just known, but you're not been liked. Yeah. So one thing that the CEO also should have. What is the benefit of having these reputations, having known by these people, having loved by the team? Is very important. Then is also known by many people. When people know us as the CEO who is actually accountable, reliable, and trustworthy, so people like to do business together. And then, of course, we have partner. And also for the government, if we want to have another license or expansion, of course, that is very easy. I mean, like this, everybody know Jo Malone. So Joanne actually started her perfume business. Actually, she's a flower arranger in Buckingham Palace. Many people or flower arrangers, they like to arrange the flower based on the color, on the type of the flower. But Joanne, she loves smell. She has a very sensitive nose, and she knows the class of the people smell, the perfume. So she arranged the flower based on the smell. So when people coming to the Buckingham Palace for this room, that room, with a different smell. Then then after that, she started the business, the perfume business. because she was in a Buckingham Palace, you know, a lot of people, she started selling flower and then now become the perfume business. It's easy for her to operate the business because she already have the network. People already know her work. People knows, you know, what kind of perfumes that she produce. Yeah. And people, most of all, people know her, you know. It's not only Jo Malone. Why is suddenly Jo Malone perfumes become very popular? It's not just only the smell, because Joanne herself. Okay, also the benefit of having good reputations. The first is, of course, beside the connections, license to operate, and being loved by the team, of course, for a better business. So CEO must have good reputation, CEO must understand public relations, CEO must have a good PR team for better business. These two guys, they won the Ernst & Young Award for being the best entrepreneur in their property. They own Regal London. So in London, there's a Regal property where manage building, real estates, offices, and you know, people, they know when using the services or rent a space in their building, it's going to be very expensive, but they know that the building must be comfortable and safe, and it's in proper services. Yeah? So then people, instead of other property is cheaper, but they like to use Regal London. Yeah. Okay, and then the next is very important for the CEO to have humility and humanity. Why Steve Jobs? He died many years ago. People still talk about him. People still adore him. And people still relate things to him because how he produced the products that used by all of us, including me, and like what, you know, I'm using a notebook now, is also useful. And he liked to share his story for being abandoned child, adopted child, and a dropout students, and to someone who loved calligraphy, someone who loved design, someone who loved people, you know, how he persuaded his team to believe in him, and, you know, then he created Apple. So I think we can all learn from, you know, his book. And also Bill Gates. You know, why people relate this pandemic with Bill Gates? Because he cares so much. He cares about polio vaccine. He cares about, you know, other things. He cares about educations. He cares about the war. He cares about people, you know, young people who didn't go to school, people who didn't eat, people who are starving. He didn't feel right. He has a good food. He has a big ranch, but he's still thinking people don't even have a window in the house. So something like that make these two guys is always remembered and become relevant to any story. So I think, you know, all CEOs have their own path and their own concept and their own passions that it also can be as a legacy to the team and also to the generation. The last, the CEO, of course, also need to be told the story, you know, the success story, otherwise not be known. So the CEO need public relations technique, public relations people in making storytelling, because storytelling is very important. And this is a story where 100 years ago, where is in Europe, only in UK especially in Coventry, there is a chocolate tree farm. And this chocolate tree farm owned by a lord, very rich lord, who became a landlord, and the lord name is Montgomery. And this lord very, he also wants business. He likes to raise the tax, while actually the people who actually ran their farm is already suffering, because on that time there is a pandemic, so the cocoa tree is not producing cocoa seed, cocoa fruit. And then he has a beautiful wife, that the wife who's telling him that actually we should consider not to raise the tax, the rent to the people now until the end of the pandemic. But he said, no, this is the times already. And the wife said, if you still want to raise the rental, I will just go to them and become one of the farmer. And then the wife, the husband, Lord Montgomery said, okay, you can do that. And she went naked with the horse, just went to meet this farmer. And then the farmer saved her and give her the blanket. And then the farmer said, you are our queen. And, she's the goddess. That's why this chocolate Godiva has this lady with the horse as the product. And in Belgium, in Brussels, it's all chocolate shop, and all chocolate shop selling all, the same chocolate. All chocolate in Belgium, so nice. And the price is also the same. And, it's almost all the streets, a chocolate shop. And how the customer remember to come back to this shop if the CEO did not think something that make the customer come back. So that's why this Father Draps, the CEO, the founder of Godiva, relate the story of this Lord Montgomery and his wife to his chocolate. The purpose of just to leave the sweetness of every meeting, so they will remember the sweetness. So that's why when they come to Godiva shop, they will come back again, they come back again, because they want the sweetness of the chocolate become the sweetness of the meeting. Then the last example, I hope I still have time, is about Tiffany. Of course, all these, women, we all love Tiffany jewelry. But actually, Charles Louis Tiffany is a very simple man, as an entrepreneur who owned a small shop only selling boxes for a present. And his shop just next to where all the hotels in New York, Hilton's, Conrad, Westin. So when people, like to meet someone for a meeting, a birthday presents, or graduation, or any surprises, or like engagement, wedding, they need to have a nice box to give to the persons that, the persons they love. So he created the box in order to make the people remember his product. So he makes everything's blue. That's why now we call Tiffany blue. Actually, this is Tosca. So all the box blue, the bags blue, and the ribbons white. So it's Tiffany. And then no matter what is inside the present, people likes to buy the box from Tiffany until these jewelers, the beers, the diamonds manufacturers approach him. I think we should, because this is already popular, I think we should put jewelry, a nice thing, something inside the box. So and then they have the palladium, the platinum, the silver, the diamond inside the Tiffany, and then they the Tiffany name the company Tiffany and Co. So this is the founder and the CEO aspirations to make the book, you know, the present is not matter what is inside, but how you present it. And it's the most important to witness the happiness of someone to receive the gift. So this is what this Tiffany like to build, to create and to share this with his team. And then now Tiffany is known become the relationship matter. Since the chocolate that Godiva is the sweetness of the meeting, but Tiffany like to get, you know, from the storytelling is the sweetness of relationship. Until now, people still relate that. You can see this how sweet this relationship by Tiffany.
How are you? So nice to see you. How are you? So now you get used to the protocol. You go right here.
Okay, so you remember what I said, the blue Tiffany box and the white ribbon, and is what is inside, it doesn't matter, but the Tiffany things inside is making the relationship sweet. It's a sign of a nice relationship. People, is very important to have relationship. If you don't have relationship, you don't have engagement, you just don't care. So that's why this is something very important in creating a storytelling into the CEO, into the founder, into the entrepreneurs. So I think this is the end of my presentations, and I hope this is okay. And wish to see you one day in persons in KL. Thank you, Mr. Ching, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Prita. I hope everyone enjoyed this amazing sharing. All right, we will take some time for questions now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the chat box. Is there any question for Dr. Prita? Perhaps I would like to ask the first question from me, Dr. Prita.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Prita, actually, I'm actually quite interested in your sharing, especially the first part of your sharing when you talk about the charms and the charisma of a CEO. So I'm wondering, when a company wants to look for a CEO, whether recruit a CEO, appoint a CEO, I'm wondering, should they evaluate, or choose this candidate to be a CEO based on the charms and charisma as well as the professional skills, instead of their capability, working experiences, educational qualification? So I'm not sure which kind of criteria is more important here in choosing a right candidate to be a CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Ching, for the questions. Okay. Of course, for a company to look for the CEO, the company will not know whether the CEO will be able to be like by the team and also by the public. But the team might also, I mean, this is the one thing's good in this era of social media, and then also in the era of technology. And the team, the recruitment agency, the board of commissioner, and the people will also know the CNO from the social media, how his days with his family is very important. You cannot lead a company with like maybe hundreds of employee, but you can't lead your own family matter, your wife, your children. And also it's very important, a CEO also, how he behaved to his parents, you know. In a Japanese company, when someone interview to want to get a job, and then the HR manager will ask about the parent first, about sibling, and if they already have family, and about wife and children. So family is matter. So that's why in order the people get to know the CEO, I think social media is also very important. Although actually life is not what is in Instagram. Life is not what is in Facebook, but people can see, you know, what the people like. I mean, if I open your Instagram, see, I begin to know you at least a little bit, what you like and who are your friends. And especially, you know, nowadays, some people even know what food they like, you know, in Instagram. So that I think social media is very known. So that's why if the company look for a CEO, of course, the company will also see the previous experience, the previous achievement of the CEO, how he handled, you know, a big matter. To make a program, to implement a program is one thing, but it's not easy when facing the problem and also manage the problem and also control the problem and overcome the problems. That's one thing that, you know, the company should need to look in a CEO.
All right. Thank you. Wonderful answer. Thank you very much, Dr. Prita. All right. So I'm checking the chat box. I still haven't seen any question. Any question from the floor? And I received 2 questions from Mr. Pong. All right. So Mr. Pong says it was an impressive sharing. Thanks, Dr. Prita. And his questions are: since building reputation takes time, what is the first step in order to have a good reputation?
Sorry, Ching, can you repeat again? So it was that there is a disturbance before on my signal.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it's okay. So I can repeat the question. So we have the first question from Mr. Pong. He asked, since building reputation takes time, what is the first step in order to have a good reputation?
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Tong. Okay, number one, when building reputations is your own investment. It's investment first, of course, in the family upbringing. How is your family? How is your parent treat you? And how is, I mean, Indra Nooyi, the former Pepsi CEO, she was telling many people the most successful secret that she can share how to become successful is her upbringing. So upbringing is very important. How your parents built you to, you know, to be polite.
Yes, it's now, yeah.
Sorry, now I answered the questions of Mr. Tong. Thank you for the questions about building reputations. Number one, in building reputation, the very basic is upbringing. How your parents raise you, about attitude, manner, behaviors, ethics, is very important. That is number one as a basic of the reputation. Then the second one is educations. Of course, educations matter. You have to have a good education. UTAR, LSPR, we are all education. Education is not just a teaching student from something that they don't know to become something they know, but education also to teach them how to learn, how to live, and is also very important. And then that is the second thing. And then in educations, they also a networking, friendship from secondary to high school, to university, to the postgraduate program, is all friends and is networking. That is also an asset for reputation. That's why if you have a good friend, even from the high school, from the secondary school, try to maintain it. You might not know that one day you might need this person, and this person will also tell to another person, oh, I know Ching from UTAR. He used to be my classmate. That is also a reputation. He's so funny. He's a nice guy, you know, and he's good in, you know, speaking, or he's good in PR, something like that. So number three is the networking is also important in the financial. And number four, I think is very important to be presentable. You don't have a second chance to impress other people. They always remember you on the first meeting is the first impression. So always to dress well, not expensive, but if you value yourself, you know, to be presentable, then people will also respect you. It doesn't mean if I don't wear good clothes, then I'm not respectable. I don't wear not expensive clothes, but I looks good. I dress well, you know, the hair and everything to make people like to see you, you know. Then is you become a likable person. That is the 4 stages. And the 5th, and of course, your ability, your competencies. What can you do? What kind of skill do you have? Since I was young, since I really want to become a public relations, I'm obsessed to public relations, and I fell in love with public relations, and I study hard. I always interested in public relation technique, new things, and I want to be the best in PR. So that's why I founded the school. I become the member of many PR organizations, and then this is why I become the president of ASEAN PR Network. I'm a part of the founder of these Asia Pacific regions of leadership in PR. So because of something that I obsess and I have a skill, then people know me as a lady in PR, something like that. That is another reputation, this number 5. This competency. And then the 6th, the last one is how you contribute. When you contribute, I mean, like today, I share with you in UTAR, in KL, in Jakarta, in Bali. So people get to know me, get to know what is inside my mind, whether they like it or they know, but at least some of my words, it touched their heart. And it's also reputations that people will still remember you the way you are. So to contribute, to involve, and to be there is also a reputation. So I give 6 for these stages. Thank you, Ching.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Prita.
Yeah, I hope it's okay, Mr. Tong, my answer.
All right. By the way, Dr. Prita, Mr. Tong has another question. I think it's a follow-up question. It's about, he says that reputation is a collective opinion from different stakeholders. It is a challenge for a CEO. So what is your advice on this?
Yes, it's very true, Mr. Tong, that reputations is a collective, you know, perception. Because reputation is content, perception, and reality. Actually, in public relations, perception and reality, there cannot be a gap. The perception and the reality should be the same. what happens if the perception and the reality is not the same? It's false. It's fake, you know. So reality, a person is skillful in one area, and it should be in reality this person can improve. Let's say like a reputable pilot, you know, he fly 777 Boeing. So he proved it that he can. He proved it that he knows everything. It's not only in driving the airplane, but he knows about Boeing. He knows about the weather. He knows about many things, the cultures and a lot of things. So this person become knowledgeable and has the reputation. Oh, we want to have this pilot for, you know, to fly our jet or something like that. So the reality and the perception should be the same. If the reality and the perception there's a gap or it's not the same, it's false. It could be fake. It could be it's not true, or it could be overwhelming.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Prita. Let me check. Okay, I think there's no more question. So I would like to quickly summarize what Dr. Prita has shared with us in the Q&A session. So basically, to be a good CEO with good reputation, there are 6 good tips, right? The first is the attitude, the behavior. The second is education. The third is networking. Number 4 is be presentable. Number 5, ability or competencies. And the last one is contribution. And also in PR, there shouldn't be any gap between perception and reality. I think that's the tips, the golden tips from Dr. Prita today. Thank you once again, Dr. Prita, for answering all the questions and for your great sharing. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. And we would like to take group photos with everyone in this webinar. Please turn on your camera and stand by, everyone. Okay, on my count, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more. 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, thank you very much, everyone. So Dr. Prita, is there anything else you would like to cover before we wrap up?
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you again in person. And I hope UTAR and LSPR can have a long-term relationship and has become to get to know each other. Now LSPR is already present in UTAR, and then next is LSPR inviting UTAR to talk also to LSPR audience in Indonesia, Jakarta, Bali, and Bekasi, and then now and then become known as other. Remember, how can we love if you don't know?
Yes, thank you, Prita. Once again, thank you, Prita, for this insightful webinar. So thank you very much and stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.